Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the private server. We are with Tiger Shrike, our level 29 Stalker, who has 120,000 experience points to go to get to level 30, and we'll have over a million XP when we do that. We have 12.88 million influence, so at level 32 we will have tons of money to buy our next set of enhancements, and we are in Independence Port with Christine Lansdale, who is going to be our next contact that we're going to work on. So we can fight people in the streets, or we can look up Frankie Frost, the nephew of family head Sebastian Frost. He's in big trouble. His uncle has called for him to be killed, apparently because the punk was skimming. How stupid can you be? Frankie might be willing to talk if he thinks that he could be protected. So can we go prevent Frankie from being turned into vapor? So we're going to board the train. It's going to be an outdoor mission against the family. We are operating at level +2. And I think we're going to keep that because it's been working okay for us. The bosses will be a little rough, and elite bosses are going to be brutal. And we may have to downgrade to +1 to fight elite bosses at the ends of story arcs, but I think the rest of the time we should be okay. And by level 33 or 4, when we have all our slots in, we'll be able to just keep it at level +2 all the time, pretty much no matter what, I think. So we need to capture Frankie and his men. Alright. So my guess is Frankie... Oh, look at this. Underboss. Let's take this guy out. Let's see how he would do against this guy. I like fighting red cons with this character. Can't quite one-shot him, but almost. Well, I'm going to enjoy fighting these guys, I think. These are level +2s. Wow, 2 misses in a row. 3 in a row. 4 in a row. Shoot, I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally moved the... Look at this. Oh, I see. He must have one of the invulnerability toggles on, like invincibility, that makes you miss. And I meant to hit reconstruction and accidentally moved it. That's alright, guys. We have instant healing and so much other stuff that will be fine. Let's see. What are the boundaries like here? Okay, so sometimes there are guys, like kidnapped victims and stuff in this region. I don't see that. My guess is Frankie's going to be toward the center. There's usually like a parking deck. And usually somewhere in and around the parking deck is where the goal of the mission tends to be. There's the parking deck right there. Let's take a look at these guys and see just how much resistance they have. And I'll check that on the third guy because we're going to be doing a lot of damage from the build-up. And so now that build-up is gone, let's go ahead and see. Doing 85 damage instead of 100, so they have about 15% lethal resistance. Again, these are guys that I don't recall having much smashing resistance, so it seems like they're better against lethal. My guess is they're wearing bulletproof vests or something because they're gangsters under those bulky jackets. Now this is usually where you find the bad guys. Somewhere around here. But I don't see him. So we'll just take guys out until we find him. Now if we hit, see, no problem. But if you start getting into a miss streak, that's when you have trouble. Against a red lieutenant at this level. And we shouldn't miss here because we have build-up going. And there we are. So let's take a look. We'll wander around a little more and see if we can find our friend Frankie. Now, I don't know if Frankie is somebody we're going to have to fight, or somebody that's just going to be you know, like cowering, just a regular NPC cowering from the others. You can see this is an enormous map. And again, this is obviously a change. Christine Lansdale is an original NPC, but they did not have these outdoor missions when the game first went live. Miss. 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 But you see it's saying deflected. So that doesn't mean that I'm rolling badly. Those two are bad rolls, the misses. But the deflected means I rolled enough to hit, and his defenses stop me from hitting because he has high defenses, super reflexes or something. Well, probably invulnerability. Alright, let's go ahead and map out the limits the way I like to do, since trying to shortcut it and going where the bad guys usually congregate, the bosses and stuff usually end up, didn't work. These guys are worth quite a lot of XP, if you think about it, right? They're worth 1,600 XP. Something like 70 of them would be enough to level us at this level. Let's see if he's back behind here. Doesn't appear to be. Yeah, I don't see anybody back here. It is nice to be able to check all this out without getting any aggro. Well, he's not here either. Maybe that is super reflexes. That reminds me an awful lot of one of the super reflex so we had a 75% chance to hit. Okay. So guys, as you know, I've started playing D&D, and we've been using D&D Beyond, which is it's a third-party website. A lot of people get it confused and think it's the official website of Wizards of the Coast, who are the makers of Dungeons and Dragons, but it's not. It's just the same as Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds, or one of these, where you can buy the products electronically, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is any more official than something at Roll20 would be. Maybe he's up here. I should have looked up here. And so I've been on the D&D Beyond website, and I've been I'm just kind of posting on their forums and stuff, and somebody made this post that was quite interesting. He said he's a new DM, right? He hasn't done this before, and he's wondering if his players' behavior is odd. He has a bunch of new players, and they're like being very cautious, very afraid to die, right? Now, one of the things that he did say is he has a house rule. In D&D, it's possible to raise a character from the dead. There's a spell called Raise Dead. There's another spell called Resurrection. And you can use those spells to bring somebody back from the dead under certain circumstances. You have to have a very expensive diamond in order to do it. It has to be within a certain period of time for Raise Dead. It has to be within 10 days. For Resurrection, it can be within a century. So you can raise a character from the dead, but it's not unlimited, right? And so this guy has here it is. Got him. Okay, so these are two bosses. So this guy has a house rule. I'm going to clear out the area just so these guys don't get involved, and I'll keep talking. This guy has a house rule that you can only be rezzed once. In other words, whether it's Raised Dead, I guess, or Resurrection, the spell only works on you once, and after that you're permanently dead. So somebody else on the forum said, well, that's probably why your players are so cautious, because they know if they die, they can never be raised, right? So I think it's interesting. I mean, like, I'm super risk averse normally in games, and I definitely am in a game like City of Heroes, even though there is no permadeath, right? Permanent death does not exist in this game. You just go back to the teleporters, and the biggest issue you have from, um, like, if I got killed in here, the worst that would happen is it would waste time while I had to run back here from the medical teleporters, right? And we'd get some XP debt, big deal. But it wouldn't be the case that I wouldn't be able to play this character again after she died once, right? Or twice, or whatever. And so I don't know if that's really true. You know, one of the things that I said was that these are new players and they're all like first or second level. The fact that you can only res once shouldn't be factored in because they're never going to res. At that level, you don't have access to a raise dead spell or the money to buy the diamond you need to do it. So you can't raise yourself, and you probably wouldn't be able to get raised by an NPC at that level. Man, am I missing? What the heck? 83%, and I'm missing that much? 97 I rolled. And I rolled something above 95 again because I was hit. It engaged the streak breaker. My gosh. It's just insane. Did you see how much I was missing when I had 80% chance to hit? That is ridiculous. Alright, we got 2 bosses. This is going to be a tough fight. We do have all of our inspirations and all of our powers. Like, so let's see, Larry. Let's fight Andre first, because, well, let's see. We're looking for Frankie. So neither one of these is the guy. Let's give ourselves a little bit of defense and do an assassination on this guy and really try to take him down as fast as possible. We're probably going to need instant healing here because they're going to do a lot of damage. I'm going to try not to use it too early. Oh, maybe not. Look at that. These are +2 bosses, guys. This is not bad at all. Now we're going to have a lot of trouble hitting. But we do have our inspiration going, so that'll help us a little bit. And of course what I could do now is placate him, right? Hasten up the build-up. Build up and assassinate. Gotcha. Okay, so that is those 2 bosses. Well, capture Frankie and his men could actually mean everybody. So I don't know here, guys. I guess we're just gonna have to start pounding. This is a time mission, and I certainly don't want the episode to last an hour and a half. So if this starts taking really long, I'm gonna pause it until I find Frankie. So go ahead and tell me in the comments, are you risk averse? Would you, if you were first level in D&D, and the DM told you that you could only ever resurrect your character 1 time, would it make you more cautious at first level, or would you only start worrying about that kind of thing once you're like 10th or 11th level and you can start casting resurrection spells, or raise dead spells, right? Or buying resurrection scrolls or what have you, which you might be able to do at 10th level, but you certainly wouldn't afford to do at first level. Would you say, look, it doesn't matter, right? Because we can't res anyway, so who cares whether you can only res once? Or would you say, oh, I'm going to be very cautious here because I can only be resed once? Let me know in the comments how you would react to that. I'm very curious to see what people would say. Another thing I'm curious about, you can leave comments, is what's your opinion, what's your position on permadeath, permanent death, in video games? My personal feeling on it is I don't actually mind it in a game like D&D, but I don't like it at all in video games. And here's why. In D&D, when your character dies, you've had plenty of time to think about it, right? Unless the DM plays with a stopwatch or something, you got into battle, you had potentially 5 minutes, 10 minutes to look at the tactical situation, see what it is, and make a decision as to how to have your character act. If you made a mistake, you did it with the ability to think and plan, right? Whereas in a video game, you don't have that ability. You have to react very quickly, and oftentimes it's a reflex. And if you just misclick a button, which you've seen me do many times, you know, I click this instead of this, or I accidentally click this, you click the wrong thing at the wrong time because you only have a half a second to decide what to click, and you make a misclick, or you, heck, there was one time when I clicked the wrong, I think I started a loot or something, but I clicked the wrong thing in with my scrapper, with my martial arts scrapper, because I sneezed, right? I was hovering over something, and as I hovered over it, a chew, and I, like, you know, it made my head nod forward, and my hand just jerked a little bit, and I accidentally clicked the mouse button. And so you can die from things like that in a video game. Your character can be wiped out, faceplant, whatever you want to call it. And to me, I don't want my character to die because I sneezed, right? And sometimes encounters are designed to be that hair trigger, right, on that much of a hair trigger. And so my personal feeling is for D&D, where you can't, like, you're not going to die because you sneezed. You're not going to, because it doesn't work that way. You're not clicking buttons, right? You're rolling dice. And the dice aren't going to roll differently because you drop them in a certain way, right? A 20 is going to come up whether, you know, whether you roll it with your left hand or your right hand, whether you cough while you're rolling it or sneeze while you're rolling it or not, right? And so it's much harder to accidentally die in D&D because you didn't have time to do anything but react, right? Whereas in a video game, unless it's a turn-based video game, right, like Divinity Original Sin, in a game like this, where it's largely based on your reflexes, right, and your ability to click buttons in the right way at the right time, in a game like this, you can die. There he is. I missed him. In a game like this, you can die from just a slight clicking error. And to me, if that's true, then death shouldn't. I don't want death to be permanent, because I don't want to, like, die because I sneezed, you know, and then not be able to play the character again. Additionally, in D&D, unlike MMOs, right, in Dungeons and Dragons, depending on the house rules, of course, for most DMs and for most game groups, the way you play it is if your character dies. I'm on with this. Oh! Well, look at that. See? I died so fast I didn't even have a chance to react. We're going to definitely need instant healing, I guess, against this guy. And we might need some luck. So imagine if I'm talking, right? I'm not clicking correctly, and now I can never play this character again. Right? And beyond this, in D&D, as I was trying to say, we're level 29, and normally in D&D, if your character died at level 29, you'd make up a level 29 character to put back in the party. You would not start at level 1, right? Whereas in this game, if your character dies and is locked out from you playing it ever again, you got to make up a level 1, right? So that's a much more punishing permanent death than D&D, where you would, most game groups, I mean, not everybody does this, I'm aware that some game groups don't, but in most game groups, you get to recreate a character, get to create a new character at the level where your party is. Some DMs will say level -1 or something like that, so you'd make up a level 28 character. That's no big deal. But having to start at level 1 now, because I made a mistake clicking, right, would really suck. On the other hand, if I'm paying attention and the DM says you've lost 30 hit points and I'm only down to 5 hit points, and I'm too dumb to look at my item list and go, oh, I should use a potion of healing here, well, that's my own darn fault, right? So, I mean, it was my own darn fault that I died here. No question about that. And he's fully healed up now. Alright, we clearly need double accuracies. I'm going to go and take a big and a small luck. Okay, knocking him over is good. As soon as he hits me, I've got a dull pain. Let's try placating him. Got him. See, I should have done that before, the placate, but I was too busy talking. And we got some dead here, which is pretty good. We worked off 1,600 dead, so he would have been worth 3,200 XP. And we've completed the mission. That's all we had to do was defeat those two guys. So we've captured Frankie. Dude, they're trying to assassinate you. Why didn't you just come with me into protective custody? We've captured Frankie. And hopefully that means that he will be a cooperative with Christine. So we're going to run back to her. And... whoops. And it is... Who just punched me? You shouldn't be punching me. I'm hidden. Gotta go back to Christine and... talk to her. And she says, with Frankie Frost in custody, we can get a lot of dirt on the family. Alright guys, let's do another mission and hopefully we won't die. Family has discovered the identity of a man who was placed in witness protection program after testifying against another crime organization on the West Coast. The man's cover identity is Roger Marshall. I think the family is going to take him out as a favor to the West Coast Syndicate. Go to the office and help Roger. Am I being ambushed? Oh, I'm being ambushed. Okay. That's how I got hit. I'm being ambushed. Okay. Alright, so... oh, this is time mission. See, that annoys me. That one didn't say it was timed. Alright. Well, let's go help Roger Marshall. Not going to take us an hour, I'm sure. If we just have to save him, we might be able to zoom our way through it. If we have to do a defeat all, it's going to take a while. And I may pause it if this starts getting too long. So yeah, let me know in the comments what your ideas are on permadeath, both in pen and paper games, if you play them, and in video games, and whether you like this idea that if your character dies, you have to just make up a whole new one. I can't imagine how anyone would ever make it to level 50 if you could never die, right? It would be so brutally hard. My guess would be you might be able to do it if you could do something like have an account-wide vault, like a bank vault, and you could slowly accumulate items that make you more powerful, so that your new level 1 would have higher, like, better gear, progressively better gear. So, you know, you'd get to level 3 or 4 and you store, you know, some training enhancements or whatever, and then you die, and then you get to level 5 or 6 with the better training enhancements, and then you store some more training enhancements, and then you die. And after you do this 3 or 4 times, you can start getting into the teens and getting DOs and leaving them for your next character, so that your next character would have more influence and be able to, look at this, and be able to eventually be fully financed, right? So then you'd be walking around with 11 or 12 million influence at the start of the game, like we are now. I mean, you might be able to do that, but I don't know how else you would survive, like how else you would ever be able to get to a higher level character, like to 50th level or something on some of these MMOs with permadeath. Like, like literally never die, never make a mistake all the way through 50 levels with the amount of time it takes. The number of button clicks you have to do just seems impossible to me. I mean, I guess some people can do it, but I don't know. That I would bet, I would guess, leads to very risk-averse behavior. Strike, 64% chance. Yep, that's why we're missing so much. There is some noise going on outside, guys. I can't really help it. Hopefully the directional mic isn't picking too much up. I'm not sure what it is out there. Somebody's running. The gardeners like to spend like 3 days just blowing leaves and stuff all over the place. I honestly don't know what takes them so long. I mean, like yesterday, the leaf blower guys were outside my house on my street, which isn't a very big block. I kid you not, for like 2 hours. I don't know why it took them 2 hours to blow grass that had just been cut by their fellow gardeners down one street. Like, it took 2 hours with 2 guys. I have no idea why it takes that long. And of course, I'm working from home now, like many people are at this time because of the coronavirus. And I'm trying to record things for work. And every time I go to record, there's some loud noise outside. So that's really frustrating, but there's nothing I can do about that. Sounds like a truck outside or something. I don't know what's going on. Okay. We can one-shot these guys quite nicely. They've definitely got some resistance to lethal and then some based on their levels. These guys are +3s. And this is what makes the +2 missions hard, is you get a lot of +3s in them too. But we clearly are able to do it, guys. I mean, we might not be able to do +2 to +3 like Circle of Thorns, but we're definitely able to do these, no problem. Got some enhancements. Wow. Alright. I mean, I gotta say, I don't like to miss. That is frustrating. But I do like that the red cons are more challenging. And this is basically level +2.5, and I think that's about where this character should be. And as we get into the 30s, we may have to bump it up to +3 missions. Like, this is happening much faster, I think, than it did on my Scrapper. But I think also I was a lot more cautious on my Scrapper because I had not played the game in a while. Whereas I have played this game a lot now for a year. I'm back to being like as good at it as I used to be, however good that may be. And so I feel a lot more confident in my abilities with this game than I did back when I was playing level 30 with my Scrapper. Alright, we're going to do the same thing and placate this guy. Now I'm going to wipe this guy out. This way we don't have to take a lot of damage from him. The boss. No, you're not getting away. Bye. Got him. And he gave me an enhancement too. Dio. Notice we don't get any training enhancements anymore, and soon we won't be getting Dios either. I think that stops around level 30, 35. Or My guess is Roger Marshall's going to be around here somewhere. So let's take these guys out. Oh, I forgot to mention something, guys. When I logged off last time, I noticed that I had a level 29, so level plus 0 single origin recharge enhancer. So we've got it on Eviscerate. So we've got a recharge enhancer on every one of our attack powers. So this is, our attack chain is basically solidified in terms of recharge. Now we just got to get some endurance reducers on it, and then we'll be in good shape. And there is Roger Marshall. We'll probably have to lead him out, but we'll see. And no, we don't. We're done. And that will probably be it for this episode. Pretty cool. So we'll go back to Christine Lansdale. I will probably do that off screen because I don't think we have her phone number. Oh, we have her phone number. Excellent. Good. So we can either go to Terra Volta or go to Terra Volta. Okay. I'll do that stuff off screen, guys. I gotta sell stuff, and let's see, we don't have any orange salvage. We got a bunch of recipes we can sell. So I'm gonna sell stuff, and then I will bring you back later on after I've done the Terra Volta silliness, and then we'll go back to Christine Lansdale and see if she'll give us some more missions and try to get her story arc. Until then, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes.